12-01 is creating the committees of the council. Personnel.
Come on. He's got to have a whole hour. I bet.
Public safety, Kozlowski, Beatrice, and Calvadas. Health, education, and welfare, Passios, Pottos, and White. Roads, buildings, and property, Williams, White, and Kozlowski. Recreation, Pottos, Williams, and Passio. Engineering and construction, White, Kozlowski, and Beatrice.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Have a motion? Second. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Resolution 11-02, professional services. Solicitor, John Kennedy, Wayne Hallwood Kennedy. Auditor, Michael Cesaro of Bowman Company. Prosecutor, Robert Del Sordo, or in case of conflict, any other duly appointed municipal prosecutor. Public defender, Michael Bonamassa, Esquire, bond counsel, Philip Wilcox, Esquire for Parks and Pay, Labor Counsel, Len Wood, Esquire, Wade Wood Kennedy, and Special Labor Counsel, Louis Rosman, Esquire.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Roll call.
Can I ask a question? Could I ask why we made a change in the prosecutor?
I'll try to respond to that. We reviewed all the information before us. We looked at it, and we thought that we could make a change in the prosecutor's office with the addition to Mr. Del Sordo. I believe he's practiced law for 40 years. Also a solicitor in High Helen for a number of years. I don't know how many it was exactly, but it was over 10. And his service to the community as the solicitor of the Planning and Zoning Board. And also, Mr. Del Sordo was agreed to and turn his savings to the borough, meaning that he's getting less. And that was the reason why.
What was the difference in the price?
10%.
10%. Was there a problem with the original prosecutor?
Pardon me?
Was there anything wrong with Sam Riley?
No, nothing particular.
You know, I have no problem with all the members that we have on the profession. I actually don't have a problem with Mr. Sordo. He does a great job when sick. I just have an issue with the change from Mr. Raganese to Mr. Del Sordo. Mr. Raganese has been doing this for many, many years. I was just talking to the judge about it. The judge, I talked to the police chief. None of them felt that there was a need to make this change. I think Mr. Kizilewski is on the report this evening that we had more arrests, more. The police department's doing fantastic. The court's doing fantastic. I don't understand why there's a need for a change when the police department and the court have been doing so well. Does the personnel committee, I mean, Mayor says?
If it wasn't a recommendation, the personnel committee won't be here on the floor. So, is there anybody else who wants to speak?
Is there anybody else on the personnel committee that can answer this? Who else is on the personnel committee? What did you think, Jess?
Everything's okay.
Anybody else?
I mean, I think this was only given to me at 12:30 today. I don't know if any members of council received this agenda. This agenda was not even printed until this afternoon. How can anybody have any time to review all of this? And this is a substantial change. Usually when we make a change, I appreciate the personnel committee doing their job, but the whole council had not deliberated this at all for such a change. Is there anything wrong with tabling this one from one position until we have a chance to at least discuss?
Well, I have a problem with tabling it. We have a motion for approval on the floor. We need a second. I've asked if anybody has any questions or whether, and then just vote the way that you feel you should vote. If you're not happy with it, vote no.
Roll call.
Mr. Beatrice?
Yes.
Mr. Pupaz?
No.
Mr. Kozlowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Passios?
No.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
4 ayes, 2 nays. I'm sorry.
This resolution is now adopted.
Resolution 12-04 is professional services authorizing the purchase of insurance. We'll have the resolution. This is from Comic Strong.
Move for adoption.
Have a second. Roll call.
Mr. Beatrice?
Yes.
Mr. Capano?
Yes.
Mr. Kozlowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Passios? Yes. Mr. White? Mr. Williams?
This resolution is now adopted.
Now I have the appointments to read. Can I read them, Jack? Okay, and there's also an addendum.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. Appointments. Contract Compliance Officer, Joyce Pinto, Municipal Housing Liaison, Joyce Pinto, Library Board of Trustees, 5-year term, Teresa Laviano, Library Board of Trustees, 5-year term, Kathy Obert, Planning Board Member, 4-year term, Debbie Gushin, Planning Board Member of Council, Anthony Beatrice, Alternate Planning Board Member, 1-year term, William Obert, Class 3 Planning Board Member, 1-year term, John Glenn Jr., Police Matron, Lorraine Hartman, Nancy Bing, Priscilla Hunter, Liaison to the Senior Citizens, Member of Council, Anthony Beatrice. Clean Community Program Coordinator, Frank Williams. Recycling Coordinator, John Gunn. Stormwater Coordinator, John Gunn. Liaison to Board of Trustees and of the Library, Anthony Beatrice. Bailiff, Nancy Bing and Stephen Adesio. Veteran Affairs Committee, James Kellogg, William Sampolsky, and William Moan. Special Police Officers, Peter Doherty, Class 1, Howard Brooks, Class 2, Lisa Marchese, Class 2, Matthew Adesio, Class 1, Joseph Murray, Class 2, Robert Reed, Class 2. Crossing Guards, Raymond Mikowski, Gina Baum, Catherine Howard, Danielle Riddle, Gary Adelson, Doris Now, Rachel Shapiro, April Pippin, Teresa Creel, Eileen Grover, Carolyn McCann, Loretta Nolan, Anita Panicelli, Ramona Sperano, Nicole Stair, Robert Ballison. Part-time EMTs, Thomas Buccio, Michael Cox, Waddell Dockery, John Kerr, David Haynes, Mark Harris, Kyle Lautenbacher, Mary McLean, Mary Warray, Timothy Smith, Joseph Stagliano, Lois Cadley, John, Robert Wilson, Daniel Doberman, Robert Fowler, Scott Kidler, Sean McGowan. Part-time bus driver, Sylvia Lee, Code Enforcement Officer, Keith Knight, Building Subcode Officer, Construction Official, Chris Mecca, Electrical Subcode Official, Joseph Convoy, Plumbing Subcode Official, Thomas Alvin Jeste, Fire Subcode Official, Ralph Jones, Housing Fire Inspector, Ed Reed, Fire Inspector, Robert Scott, Emergency Management Coordinator, Charles Romano.
Move for adoption of the resolution.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
And Frank, you seconded? Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
It doesn't say roll.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Kapadas.
I abstain.
Mr. Kozlowski.
I abstain.
Mrs. Passio.
Abstain.
Mr. White.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
And Mr. Beatrice.
Yes.
3 ayes, 3 abstentions.
Aye. I adopt the resolution.
Resolution 12-04 is a resolution adopting the drug and alcohol abuse policies. All employees required to have a commercial driver's license.
Move for adoption of 1205.
Seconded.
I'm sorry, 1204. I apologize.
1204, right? Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Those opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 12-05 is the 2012 temporary budget of our Roman.
Move to council.
Roll call.
Mr. Potts?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzo?
Yes.
Mrs. Passive? Yes. Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
And Mr. Davis?
Yes.
6 ayes.
I move that resolution be adopted.
The next resolutions, can we just read them now?
Yes.
Or do you want me to go through them?
They can be done as a one call,
Or just read them?
1206, 1219, read them down to one.
You have a problem with reading all together. There are two questions. Wait, you can do one, you can do 6 through 14.
14, you got? We got the one.
I have a problem with the fund commissioner, chip fund, years,
Number.
number 15 and 18.
1215, 1218?
Yes.
My point.
Not 14. That's 15 and 18.
15 and 18.
We do all the others?
Yeah.
We do all the others.
Okay. Resolution 1206 are the meetings of the council. Resolution 1207 are the rules of procedure. 1208 is the cash management plan. 1209 is the rate of interest to be charged. 1210 are the borough official bonds. 1211 are designated legal newspapers. 1212 are the signatures for checks on municipal court account, the bail bond account. 1213 is the municipal improvement circular. 1214 is the Open Public Meetings Act requirements. 1216 are the state contract vendors. 1217 is the resolution authorizing the collector to process refund and cancellation of $110. And 1219 is appointing the risk manager consultant for the borough of London.
Roll call.
1206.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Now comes roll call.
Mr. Kapadas.
Yes.
Mr. Kizalewski.
Yes.
Mrs. Pasio.
Yes.
Mr. White.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
And Mr. Beatrice.
Yes.
6 ayes.
I move that those resolutions be adopted.
We can group 15 and 18 together. My question is, why are we making it 3 years? It's always been a 1 year.
That's absolutely correct. If asked by the mayor, I will continue to stay on till year 214, I believe, 2014. As so the seat on the executive committee would be in place during her term, and I agreed to that.
I can tell you that I confirmed with the insurance fund attorney today that is an appropriate
Now do we have a motion from 15 to 19?
18.
Williams, take the motion and use that for 15 and
15 and 18? Make the motion.
Frank?
We already did.
Need a second.
Roll call.
Second on the resolution. Mr. Beatrice. Mr. Kapadas.
No.
Just remember.
Mr. Kizalewski.
Yes.
Mrs. Passive. No. Mr. White.
Yes.
And Mr. Williams.
Yes.
And we have one abstention. 2 noes. 3 ayes. So use the resolution.
Resolution is adopted. He did do that. This part is, this is good and welfare part. This part is open for anyone who would like to come up to the microphone, state their name and address. Jenny, would you like to come up?
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I apologize because I don't have an agenda in front of me, but I know that there was a resolution that was voted on for professional services this evening. And as a member of the governing body for 16 years, I understand that you took your vote, but you also can go back and redo that. I think Councilman Capata has made a compelling argument that there should be some time given for this particular appointment. And I concur with Mr. Capata that Mr. Del Sordo is a pillar in our community, has done an outstanding job. He's been a member or a solicitor of the planning board for 7 years now, I think. But I do urge you to take a look and listen to your member of council who is returning for a second term. Just not to brush it under the carpet and have some true conversation. While nobody is saying that the appointment shouldn't be made, I think by the councilman bringing to your attention that at 12:30 today, or 1 o'clock, or 2 o'clock, or whatever time this afternoon, I think he said, that the agenda went out, that's an unfair amount of time to have a decision that is about people. It's about two people. It's about Bob and it's about Sam. And all I see is that this hasted decision, because what Mr. Beatrice, as president of council, brought out really is not compelling. Bob is a great guy. He does a lot for the town. I'll be the first one to step up to the plate to say it. But so has Mr. Raganese. And to have at least 2 members, 3 members, or 4, I don't know how many members of council, not to have an opportunity to have honest and open discussion about an appointment that now has pitted 2 individuals against one another, I find it unconscionable. And I urge you to take a look at that again and give the courtesy to the councilman, who is not a new councilman. He knows what he's saying, and he deserves the respect that he deserves as a member of this governing body, to sit down with the committee. When did the committee meet, Mayor? You're a member of the personnel committee. When did you meet?
On this appointment?
Yes, on Mr. Del Sordo and Mr. Raganise's appointment.
I heard about it on Friday.
You heard about it. You heard about it. Okay, all right. Okay, that's fine.
What a recommendation.
So you sat one afternoon, one day, and made a recommendation on
It
Friday.
was told to me on Friday.
It was told to you. Well, with your statement, Mayor, I urge every member of council to take a step back and give the opportunity that needs to be deliberated, because there's nothing worse than putting 2 people in a terrible situation who are pillars in our community. And by your statement of being told on Friday what was going to happen, that is just unbelievable. That is poor management, and I'm just appalled. I am just appalled.
Does anyone else have anything to say? Would you like to come up to the microphone, please? State your name and your address.
My name is Judith Costello. I live at 108 Manor Court in Miami. I would like to know how many council members are on Runnymede Council. That's what I would like to
The
know.
answer is
You're
yes.
supposed to be a group. You're supposed to be there for the people, okay? Then all of a sudden, you're having this meeting, that meeting. This one's against this one. This one's against that one. What about us? Think about it. We pay our taxes. What about us? Thank you.
Talk up.
I wanted to take the opportunity to, for the record, Sam Raggedy. It's been my privilege to serve as a prosecutor for 15 years. And I consider myself a good Democrat. I've tried recently to gain election. Didn't. Lost by 30 votes. Still working for the best interests of the Democratic Party. But, you know, I want to just simply say at this point, you know, whether I'm the sacrificial lamb here, I don't know. But it's time that the town get together, okay? If it has to be over my job here, which I thought that I was doing well and working hard at, then so be it. But if it's for the best interest of the town, that you may learn a lesson at my expense, then go ahead and do it. But I do want to thank everyone here for the opportunity, and I'm proud to say that I was your prosecutor. A lot of serious matters were handled. If there's ever a need in the future, you can reach out. You know where I'm at. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kathy Hornibrook, 111 East 3rd Avenue here in Raleigh. I'd like to congratulate Nick and Pat, and I'd like to wish everybody a happy new year. Now, I'm here for a reason. I'm the new corresponding secretary for the Women's Club in Raleigh, and I guess I'll be handling a lot of the correspondence. There were 2 letters that were sent out, one in June and one in November that I'm going to read to you. They were both sent to Mayor Calvados and Council. Dear Mayor and Council, this is the first one, dated June 16th. By the way, we never got a response for either of them. So I guess because we didn't get a response for the first time, the second letter deals with the same problem. Dear Mayor and Council, on April 19th, 2011, the GFWC Women's Club of Renemy informed the Borough of Renemy that we will be hosting the District Summer Council on June 9th at the Harry Williams Building Senior Center from 5 to 10 p.m. When our president, Debbie Edwards, and some of our members arrived at the center at 5 p.m., now mind you, not only some of our members, but some of the visitors from other clubs, Haddonfield, Woodbury, different clubs came to set up for the evening. We found the center in deplorable condition. 4 voting machines were standing in the middle of the room, and most of the tables were folded up in a pile. Bags of food and drinks supplies for the VFW flag disposal ceremony on June 10th were piled on one of the standing tables. But worst of all were the trash cans. All were overflowing, smelled awful, and flies were all over the room. Before we could start setting up for our council, we had to air out the room, chase out the flies, and dispose of all the smelling trash, which had maggots in it. Well, this is June. And mind you, our guests, this is like throwing a party and having all guests come, we have food and all, and now everybody has to help clean the place out, which we've attended a lot of affairs in a lot of different counties, and we've never, ever had to deal with this. Anyway, after all that, we were lucky to convince 2 young men playing ball at the ball field to give us their help. They were kind enough to move the voting machines out of the way and set up the tables for us. Most of our members are over 60 years old, which I'm 66, going on 67, and are unable to do this heavy work. Well, not only do we have to do the heavy work, but we pay taxes. And this is such a poor image of our town. And, I mean, I'm broken hearted. I couldn't believe it. Anyway. We were very disappointed with the borough that the center was such a mess, especially since the borough knew in plenty of time we were using the room on Thursday, June the 9th. Also, with the heat we had that week, leaving garbage and trash in a closed room without AC, air conditioning, for 2 days is definitely a health hazard. We are aware that there is nothing anyone can do now, but we feel mayor and council must be informed of what is going on. And that is not to happen again. Also, could you please let us know who supplies the plastic bags for the trash and blah, blah, blah? At any rate, so we did request a response, we never got one. Okay, this is November the 11th.
I would like to apologize to you, but I did send the road department down there
We did not.
when I got your letter.
We have, was anyone there that day? For the meeting. Okay. But there were two letters.
I never received either one.
Well, I'm gonna read the other one, because this
I
was,
will tell you one thing, I will give you personally my cell phone. You can call me directly.
okay, I'm counting on that tonight.
Believe me, there's other people who've been up at that RYA building, okay, RYA, they had a problem, I sent the guys right now.
Yeah, because for the basket auction,
Right?
it was a disgrace. We had old ladies cleaning, trying to get in. This isn't happening again,
And it won't.
ever.
And it won't.
And if we send correspondence out, we want to reply.
I never
Well,
received that letter.
I'm sorry.
Right? Well, I never received it. Right? I never got it. So I will take care
Okay,
of
you
it.
want your,
I will, I'll give you right after this.
and this will never happen again.
It'll never happen again.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Floyd Morgan, 20 West First Avenue, Runnymede. Since Mr. Williams, you are now communities coordinator, I guess this will be more directed towards you. The state provides strategic pavement. My wife and I regularly walk the bike path. And to our attention, between Third Avenue and Smith Lane, there is a massive amount of graffiti. Someone, I assume it would be the roads department, went out to try and clean it up, and without being too graphic, there was a big white penis about 3 foot long on the track. They went down with black spray paint and made it black. So it didn't help. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
If you see anything in this town, you can call me personally.
And the garbage cans don't get
Right.
emptied on a regular basis at all. And I
I will
suggest
tell you
that,
my supervisor.
that they get more cans along that bike path. The weather has been nice. There's no reason that it couldn't be cleaned up along the way, somewhere along the
Normally,
line.
the public trash cans are picked up once a week,
Well,
okay? But if they're not, I will
You said
address
they
that
are?
with my supervisor.
okay. 'Cause,
Okay.
like I said, we go by there pretty much almost every day, and
Right.
they really aren't being
I'll address
honest.
it.
If you're led to believe that, you might have to look into that. But anyway, the Clean Communities gets enough money to clean up all this graffiti
I
and
agree.
down stuff. So,
I agree.
You know, mostly kids, I agree that, you know, they're out doing this. And
We just clean up the whole park down by the VFW.
All right, that's the thing. And I would just like to say, please do a good job this year, because I think the people feel to be watching you. Please make your meeting. We're worried about people that don't show up to our council meetings, but there's more people here than council members, so let's make sure. And I would also like to put forward that the time for the council meetings at 5:30 is very inconvenient for most residents who are meeting. I would like it to be changed back to 7 o'clock. So, thank you.
Eleanor Kelly, 161 Forest Avenue, Runnymede. Happy New Year to everyone, and a blessed coming new year with lots of prosperity. I want to thank whoever was responsible for responding to the speeding that's going on Forest Avenue. I live on Forest Avenue. There's now a speed bump, and I realize that it was a problem. And I want to thank you all, whoever was responsible for that, Frank, for that speed bump. There's also 2 speed bumps now on Pine, which is a through street because of the light at 9th Avenue. And that's helped a great deal also. Also the paving on Pine has really added to the override of the whole street looks great. But I want to address the fact that Mr. Del Sordo and Mr. Raganese seem to be pitted against each other. I'm friends with both. I worked for Bob for 3 years. And yes, he's a fine, fine man. And he's done a great for our town. But I think I agree with past Mayor Betteridge that there should be some more consideration than just a few hours. This is such a big, important move. So I hope you will reconsider. And if I were sitting on council, I would be voting for a reconsideration. So please, think about it. And Happy New Year to everyone.
Good evening. Happy New Year to everyone, Mayor and Council. My name is Patricia Beck, and I live at 64 South Oakland Avenue, Runnymede. Been here for over 30 years on that street, and I guess you know of all the Toyota, what they're doing. They're building a parking lot all along that strip between Easham Road and Clemens Ridge Road. We went to our whole block went to the zoning board meetings all last year to try to fight this. However, we went into litigation. They must have approved it because I guess they were afraid they were going to lose the business, and then our taxes would go up. But I have been touching base with Mark and from Bob Associates, and I do have some pictures I can make with you. I am concerned about the water issue. They're putting in drains all along there. We always did have a water issue along there. Many of you know who live in this town for quite a few years. We are at the lowest point. And my concern is that the existing easement that they are going to collect this water that drains off has been there for years. It's an underground water running stream underground. It's been there for years. It's an old pipe. I don't think anybody has ever go in with a camera to see if there's any holes or if there's any issues with this whole old pipe, because they're going to be they're building a reservoir with all drains behind there. And there's going to be a lot of water if we get a bad storm or a lot of rains. And it's supposed to dump into the old system. And I'm at the lowest point, and so is my neighbor. And we're very concerned, and so are the other people on the block. We were just wondering, I was talking to Mark. He's been on top of things. But my concern is I was wondering if there's anything they can do as far as putting more drainage to divert it away from the lowest point, maybe put more drains down by Toyota itself behind the building, or maybe on the Black Horse Pike, because we get the water that runs off the Black Horse Pike through Commerce Bank, and that's all going to be collected in the same area. It's a big reservoir. So I just want to bring this attention to everybody. I guess Mark will go over things with you, has been informing, but I just feel that this was passed without maybe, I know I'm not an engineer or anything, but you can't fight Mother Nature, let's put it that way, you know? And so I just want to make sure that this is done properly so that we already had a mudslide between our houses in the last rainfall, which is going to be corrected and going to be cleaned up. And but my concern is the water coming in from both areas. We just need more drainage. I don't know whether you can contact the county to get the county more drainage on the pipe, more drainage on the Clemens Ridge Road and Easham Road. Because even all the water comes down Easham Road and turns right down on our street on South Oakland. And then it runs out to goes down Phillips Avenue, goes out to the Little Timber Creek out on Clemens Ridge Road. So, if you want pictures, Mark said that he has pictures. He can show you the pictures, but I do have some here I can leave with you. So I just want to bring that to your attention. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Okay.
Hi, Colleen Firth, 840 West Third Ave, Runnymede. I just have speed humps on Singling Ave. they're a great asset. Put one in front of my house. But with all the signs regarding the one-way street, we need more signs on Singley Ave because the residents, it's the only place for them to park is on the right-hand side of the road if you're leaving my house going to Clemens Bridge. And they park right on the lines, you cannot see the sign, and you're on top of the hump. We've had a family member who does not see through town, and they wiped out and lost their oil cans because you don't see that third hump until you're on top of it. The paint is not reflective, so you don't see it until you're on top of it at night. I think, the signs are right at the hump, a little too late, if you don't see the paint, if you don't see it. Because cars, people that live over there, that's the only place they have to park. There's one guy works for, I think, Runnymede Heating, where he parks, you don't even see the sign. And you don't see the sign on the other side because it's the traffic coming the other way. So with all the signs we invested on 3rd Ave, we could put some more signs or buy some reflective paint, paint the road or paint the hump so that people can see it, would be appreciated. Thank you.
The chief, I was talking to the chief yesterday about, they start out real little, work their way up, it should be large and work their way down. I don't know if the whole, so.
What's there now?
Like if we come off Tunnel Bridge, we put like warning speed bumps, and then down by Lakeview and Sealy, you would stop this, come in a little bit before the one warning speed bumps. They did. The one that now is just and I agree that the signs are like close to the hump, but when you see the sign, you're on the hump. We can bring them down a little bit. No. Oh, we had that one. Okay. So I was going to bring that up tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, Sandy Clehammer, 104 South Oakland Avenue, Runnymede. First of all, Happy New Year. I just wanted to address the issue of Sam and Bob. I am friends with both of them. As you probably well know, I sat next to Bob for 7 years on the planning board. Does a wonderful job. I've had many things to do with Mr. Raganese with the RYAA. I was president there for 12 years. And I've also had the pleasure of dealing with every single one of you, except for Mr. White, over the past 10, 12 years. You're all good people. Okay, I've enjoyed working with all of you. It would just seem to me that we have kind of pitted two good people in the community against each other. And again, I found out at 5 o'clock, and we have two members saying that they found out at 2 o'clock. I don't think pause is ever a bad thing. I'm not saying the decision is a good or a bad or right or wrong. I don't think pause is ever a bad thing when something comes into question. Now, we have 7 members on the board, and I was not privy to the conversations, but it would seem to me that it was a very small amount of members that weighed in on this with any, degree of time. So I don't think pause is a bad thing. It also seems to me, or what Council President Beecher said, was that the main problem or the main reason for this change was monetary, was a 10% discount in his services. Now, personally, I don't know if there's any kind of performance issues that were not raised or were raised in these meetings that we do not know about. But if I have an employee, if I have a good employee, I have many of them, and I need to make a change for monetary only reasons, if I have to make a budget constraint, I have to say, Mr. Smith, you're doing a great job here, but we're having budget changes. I would give that employee the first right of refusal to say, I'm either going to go ahead and whittle my salary down to meet that 10% deficit, or if they have the first right of refusal and they refuse, then so be it. you move on. But it just seems to me that every single one of your votes is as important as the other. And again, I'm not saying anything is right or wrong. I honor my time next to Bob every second Wednesday of the month. We have a good time together. He's a good man. I call him Ben Franklin. He knows everything about the town. He's a good guy, and we're lucky to have him. We're also lucky to have Sam Raganese. So I just would ask you guys to perhaps take pause. Doesn't hurt to take pause. You can still come back with the same answer. And again, I'm not saying it's a right or wrong answer. It has nothing to do with these two gentlemen. It has to do with the process. I think the process needs to be looked at, in my opinion. Thank you very much.
A couple more housekeeping things, like questions that I'd like to ask Jenny Better, Rambler. I am in agreement that the 5:30 council meeting time, it's just not fair to the public. People are cooking dinner, they're picking up their children after school, they're coming home from work, and try to drive down at 5 o'clock, 4:30 down the Black Horse Pike to get here from wherever job that you're coming, or the errands that occur at 5:30 in the afternoon. To me, you're setting an example that you're trying to get through business in a very hasty way, which leads me to my second question. My second question is, when is mayor and council going to meet for your caucus meeting? When are you going to discuss the business of the town? 10 minutes before you go into the regular session like you did all year? That you met at 5:30 and at 6 o'clock you went into your regular meeting? Is that how we're going to continue to do business in town? Mayor, can you answer that, please?
We start the meeting at 5:30, Ginny. We don't start at 6 o'clock.
You start.
And I am telling you, we got more people in the audience at 5:30 than we do at 7 o'clock.
Well, I think, Mayor, you should poll the citizens of the town, because there are plenty of people.
Who are here. It's those people.
You know what? Bottom line, it's your decision. You all are going to decide if you meet at 5:30.
That's right.
I'm just telling you that as a citizen in this town, a 5:30 start time to talk about the month's business in a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is, for you to go into your regular session is not enough time. This is your most critical time of the year. January through March 31st is your budget time. You mean to tell me you're going to learn this budget and know what needs to be done in a matter of 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a half hour, however long the caucus session is?
No.
No. Okay, well then, I just urge you, Mayor, to reconsider the time. I'm not telling you to change it. I'm asking you to reconsider. It's all up to you. You all decide what time you meet. I'm just telling you that as a member of this community, 5:30 is not a good start time. My third question, I know that there were members of council that had question on the JIF and the HIP appointment, and I can tell you this. When I became mayor, I could have taken that position over, but I yielded that to Councilman Beatrice, because he's been a member on there for many years, and I felt that, you know, I go to plenty of meetings a month. I had 15-minute meetings a month to attend. So if he was doing the job, and he was doing it for a long time, I had no problem with it. But I can tell you that I do take exception to a 3-year appointment, and I would like Mr. Beatrice, or Council President Beatrice, excuse me for not addressing you properly, to disclose to the members that are out here today, what are the benefits of being on the JIF and the HIP?
Wording, as far as what is concerned, man, what do you mean by benefits?
Okay, benefits, what you're paid.
You mean when I'm paid?
Yes.
Yeah, I get paid $450 a quarter.
A quarter.
For each, yes.
So there's a financial gain.
You want to know any more?
No, there is a financial gain.
Do you want to know any more?
I don't need to know. I don't need to know anything else.
Last year, I attended 140 meetings with the Joint Insurance Fund and Health Insurance Fund together. Okay? We have a seat on the executive board, as you probably know as a former mayor, that you just don't get this seat. Everybody that comes on the commission does not go to the executive board, number one. So when one achieves the opportunity to serve on the executive board, you get to vote on exactly what's going to happen. If I get off the HIF and JIF as not the representative, our representative would go and sit in the audience just like you're doing right now, while the board up there would take their votes, et cetera. I'm happy to report. I sit on the claims committee, I sit on the contracts committee, I sit on the budget committee. This year, the JIP separated with the Skyhome Company. I've been doing business ever since I've been on the JIP, and we saved our town $100,000. So I just don't sit up there and do nothing. I represent Runnymede. I have a vote. I have a vote. I let you speak. I have a vote on the executive board. We have input as to what happened. My record on the JIF and the same.
No, I'm not questioning your integrity
Well, if
on
I
that
was
board.
challenged, I'll give you another. I was challenged on my financial statement. If one would want to look at with the Oprah, as it was challenged here, you'll see if the JIF is on my financial.
I don't have any reason to
I know,
ask you
Jen.
your
That's why I
financial
answered.
disclosure. But the bottom line is that while you are providing a service to the board that you represent, and you are a governing body member, the bottom line is that there is a $1,600, $1,700 a year financial benefit for your time. So I applaud you for going to 104 meetings, and I know that as a member of that executive board, and the JIF and the HIF, there's also an annual conference that's held in Miami Beach, it's sometimes held in San Francisco.
I've never been.
Well,
to Miami
it's
Beach.
held,
I
so.
did not go to the convention this year. I've gone to two. One of them was while you were running in your primary. I was in Florida.
Perhaps.
But I don't go to every convention.
But anyway, I thank you for your candor.
Well, I appreciate your thank you. Thank you. Doesn't look like there's anyone wishing to speak at this point. I'd like to go to the law firm.
Okay. Have a motion for the adjournment?
Close the vote.
I close good and welfare. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Before we adjourn, good welfare is over. I want to just clarify one thing. The monetary situation with Mr. Agnew and Mr. Del Sordo was not my conversation.
Can't hear.
I'm sorry. I believe that someone said that the decision that was made was purely monetary. That was not the case. If I said that and misspoke, what I'm saying is the salary became a contributing factor. Thank you.
What was the other factors?
We adjourn.
What was the other factors?
Nobody knows that.
Yeah, what were the other factors?